Funny Navy story time. Last base I was at was Fallon, fucking Nevada, which is where the Navy moved the Top Gun school when they got it out of Miramar. The only redeeming factor of Fallon, Nevada is that it has 3 casinos, one of which has a decent steakhouse. That was it. So Fallon is supposed to be a 3-year duty station. At this point, I only had 12 months left on my contract, so I was either going to re-enlist, which me and the wife had discussed and decided that I wasn't going to do, or I was going to beat feet with my DD-214 and call it good. So here's the deal with the Master Arm rate when I joined. It was very top-heavy around E7, and for a couple rotations of advancements, it was pretty much wide open to E4. It was like a 93% advancement rate. But it backed up very quickly, and I missed my window to advance by about 2 months, and I spent 2.5 years trying to make E4 when I had a few friends that joined it made it in less than a year. So when I did finally make E4, I had a slightly jaded view of our senior enlisted, and when I got to Fallon, I knew I was getting out in 12 months, so I didn't really give a shit. All of that intro is just to help you understand this one situation that I had with an E5 in Fallon when I was still getting qualified. Well, when I got to Fallon, I won't say that I was laying down, but I was taking my sweet time to get qualified sentry and patrol. It got to the point that the watch commander pulled me aside and said, "I know you know what you're doing, you're just refusing to work. So I'm going to stick you on post with the most hated female in the section until you get qualified, Johnson." It took me less than 4 days to qualify. So getting back to my first 2 weeks actually working, I was the lowest qualified E4 in the section, so I had zero responsibility. Well, I made it a point anytime my shift was up, I made sure that I left within a couple seconds of changeover. This particular day, I was about 10 seconds from home, my phone rings. It's the patrol supervisor in my section, and he's recalling me back to base. He won't tell me what's going on, he just says I gotta get my ass back to the station right fucking now. I flipped my car around and head back to base, and while it wasn't a big deal, I lived about 15-20 minutes away, I could still hear Coldbeard calling my name, and it was kind of annoying. I get back to my station and walk in, but he's the only one from my section still there. Everyone else had already gone home. He says, "Walk in my office, Johnson, we gotta talk." So I walk in the office, it wasn't his office, and I go, "What's up, MA2? And he goes, "Johnson, we need to talk about your disrespectful attitude." He proceeds to try to dress me down and make it sound like he's responsible for my actions and how I'm making him look bad, but I'd been in for a minute and I looked at him and I was like, whoa, hold up a second, MA2. Explain something to me real quick. When I get put out on a post by myself or in a unit and I make a bad call and shoot and kill somebody, are you going to be standing in front of the old man with me facing those charges? There was no pass down, there was no dismount, no one else required your permission to leave. You might be able to play these fuck games with someone else, but it ain't gonna fly with me. My actions and my attitude is my responsibility, not yours. I guess he was looking for a little bit of a different response because that kind of ground him to a halt, and I asked him, "Is there anything further, MA2? He says, no, that was pretty much it, but you should probably work on that. I told him, yeah, I'll address it in the near to distant future, MA2. Have a good night. I went home, cracked a beer, and didn't think a second thought about it. Best part was, after that, we got along great.